Kevin Stitch says the Oklahoma's main problem is an efficiency problem. What are your thoughts on that?
Good question. That's kind of where you draw the line right now in Oklahoma with what's going on. We either say it's a spending problem or we say that we need to tax more. I think we've got to be careful. I think oil and gas is with agriculture. Oil and gas is very important, but they don't need a free ride as well. For several years, guys, they were paying 1%. They want to say now that they're paying 7%. The first 3 years of an oil well is where you're going to get about 80% of that use, and that's when we charge them the less. I think we need to check into that. They tell us I want to look at that. I think it's to answer your question. I think as Democrats, we've got to be careful. One of the biggest things I hear every day is don't just tax us to death and blow money. I guess one of my favorite examples is that the leadership up there always talks about we've got to find a waste, we got to find a waste. They cut our auditors 40% the last 2 years and then get on them for not finding waste. They do the same thing with our schools. You got to do better, you got to do better. Oh wait, no money. They do the same thing with our commissioners. Hey, fix the roads. Oh, but you get half the money to do it with. I think we've got to look at everything. I think it's a little of both.
Question.
The two candidates for governor have a different outlook on the state's problems. Drew Edmondson says we need to raise oil and gas, also 50 cents more per cigarette tax, and get rid of the capital gains. Kevin Stitt, the Republican candidate, says that Oklahoma has an efficiency problem. What are your thoughts on that?
First thing I'd like to say is, I don't know too many Democrats up there that doesn't want to raise taxes, so I understand Drew wanting to raise taxes. I've known Drew for a long time. The other side of that is, when you look at oil and gas, they make up 25% of our state revenue. Now, they pay after the first 3 years, they pay 7%. There's a lot of investment in that. There are people here that have probably worked in the oil or in the gas fields, and you're really happy that you've got those jobs. What I think we need to do is make sure that oil and gas, anybody else is paying their fair share, by seeing how they stack up with other states. I supported going from the 3% to the 4%. What it ended up doing was going from 4% to the 5%, and I didn't think that was right. I appreciated so many businesses that stepped up in the beginning when we had a shortfall on their own when the legislature couldn't get it done, and came together and said, here's the plan, here's what we'll do. They ended up getting another percent added on. Cigarettes and gas ended up having the money taken down. I don't like the idea of an additional tax on cigarettes, additional tax on gas, but I do know that there are things that has to be done. We have to make sure that we fully fund classroom education, and there's money to go do that. I mentioned just a moment ago $1.57 billion over in the correction side, and it's because we have so many. The other side of it is on the education side. We've got well over 2,000 teachers with emergency certificates. In 2011, we had 32. So we didn't get there overnight, and despite what my opponent says, anybody that is going to talk to a legislator has to register as a lobbyist. I'm not registered as a lobbyist. I'm registered as a principal lobbyist. So with that, there is somewhat of a difference. I don't have the direct contact. I don't have the PAC that I write checks out of. So it's not exactly the way that he ended up explaining it. If you want to know who I am, what I do, ask me when we get through and I'll explain it to you. But I don't support going in and taxing like the Democrats want to do. And I do say that when I'm elected and I go, I don't plan on falling in because I disagree with a lot of them. I disagree with a guy that's holding the office now, and that's the reason that I'm running, because I disagree with what took place. Teachers need a raise. They went 10 years without a raise. State employees need a raise. They've gone 12 years without a raise. It's time to get something done. If I have to buck the system, buck the leadership, that's exactly what I'll do. I think that's very clear to the leadership. We're at a turning point in the state of Oklahoma. where things are either going to get better or things are going to get worse, and then the majority party is going to take over. It may happen with the governor. It's a possibility, I'm out of time.